Hey, I just wanted to come on with today's energy, with today's message. So, clarity is arriving right now through what is embodied, through what you are expressing of your thoughts and your choices and decisions through your lived behaviors and actions. Move gently with what feels clear and light, especially right now with all of the messages that are coming in from what is happening around us. Listen for that inner clarity. Find those times in quiet and peace to rest yourself and allow the inner knowing to come through. Clearer choices, clearer boundaries, more presence, and stronger self-trust are what are going to get you through the energies right now. Remember that you are always taken care of. The core of your true self can now shine through. The world is waiting for you. You were made for this moment. You chose to incarnate at this time for the energies that we are in. Trust your inner core self more than the outer messages. We are going to be getting a lot of messages that are going to both unify us and divide us, but they often can sound the same. So remember that authentic leadership will present with clarity, whereas predatory leadership that attempts to consume you, will exacerbate the confusion and ambiguity. So pay attention to what you are hearing and filter it through your inner wisdom, your inner knowing. Remember that neither readiness nor courage arise within you prior to your choice and movement that follows it. If you draw your sense of safety from outside of yourself, you'll forever be defending yourself from the outside world. We are in the middle of a planetary parade, which is causing a lot of us to ask some deeper questions. The inner planets ask daily behavioral questions. The outer planets ask questions of evolution measured in choices. Right now we're in the middle of the eclipse corridor between the solar eclipse that occurred in February and the lunar eclipse that is occurring on the 3/3 portal in just 2 more days from when I'm posting this message. So something new wants to work through you. How will you put your purpose in motion? How can you activate the storm through nurturance and collaborative creation? Right now we have Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter all in a line on our horizon in our view. We can see them all lined up nicely at the right times of day because they're also lined up with the sun. And each of these planets asks us a question. The sun, which is our core identity and vital direction, focuses on conscious identity clarified through what you choose and energize. The question it is asking right now is, where am I investing life force out of habit rather than authentic purpose? Mercury, which is thought, voice, and meaning making, offers information overload forces, discernment between signal and noise. The question it asks is, am I communicating to be understood or to regulate my own uncertainty? Venus deals with value, attachment, and attraction. Desire reveals what you actually believe you deserve. So the question we ask is, do my relationships reflect my stated values or my tolerated self-worth? Jupiter, the planet of expansion and belief systems, where growth amplifies whatever worldview you are already living inside. So which belief in your life is quietly becoming destiny through repetition? Saturn deals with structure, reality, and consequence. Reality tests what is sustainable versus merely inspirational. And it asks, what responsibility have I delayed that now defines my future trajectory? Uranus is about disruption and liberation. Sudden insight destabilizes identities that are built on conformity. Where am I mistaking familiarity for freedom? Neptune, the planet of imagination, illusion, and transcendence, deals with boundaries that blur between inspiration and escapism. So what fantasy comforts me but prevents direct engagement with reality? Along with these planets, we also have Mars serving as an activator in Aquarius. And Aquarius asks about freedom and is concerned with freedom. So this is going to compel you towards courageous action in your values. I also want you to look at where Jupiter, who is falling in Gemini right now and has gone retrograde, where does Gemini, which house does Gemini fall in? Because Jupiter is going to be expanding those energies. And then in June, it will transit into Cancer, and it will continue its expansion in whichever house Cancer falls in. So note where those are for you. Right now, it's in Gemini. Whatever house Jupiter and Gemini is in is where Jupiter is expanding those energies. Let's see, what else did I have? So Mercury retrograde is conjunct with Venus. This is going to cause deja vus, goosebumps, funny feelings. Pay attention to those. Note what is going on within your body, what thoughts are passing through your brain. Don't evaluate them. Don't judge them. Just note them, write them down. And in time, you can begin to recognize patterns that emerge from that. Let's see, what else did we have on here? Our nervous system and psyches are experiencing compression, trying to reconcile who you've been, who you're practicing being, and who your environment now requires you to become. Our predictive model is updating. That means the compression means that there is going to be some discomfort. There's going to be some challenge, some contrast, in order to provide you the opportunity to continue to align with your values, and also offer you the opportunity to realign where your ego might have distorted or where your ego might have led you astray. There are other planets. Pluto right now in its positioning wants you to look at what part of your identity survives if control is no longer possible. So check those values and where they are lining up. Mars is asking you right now, am I moving towards something meaningful or merely away from discomfort? So really pay attention to that escapism. I think that all of these are really important given what we have just experienced and are experiencing as we watch the world stage play out. I find all of it incredibly ironic. I was doing my readings and collecting those energies and kind of looking at those questions myself. And today, and because I had put it off because I wanted to find something that would put me into an earning capacity here, basically I was traveling around, and I still am feeling called to travel around, but I made it as far as Washington, and then my car started having issues. So I made the decision while I was here to find employment in the meantime while I am building my channel and finding my community and my collective, to find employment here and kind of settle and take the time to give my vehicle the attention it needs before I head back out into the world. Feel strongly called out into the world, and I feel really, really delayed. So a lot of those questions are aiming at me in that. Definitely dealing with a lot of the releasing, and what resentments come up and what challenges come up. And even as I face these challenges in my own life, my car just died. I'm actually technically stuck right where I'm at right now. I'm going to have someone come rescue me, which is going to be my dad, and that's not fun. But this is an opportunity for me to practice that self-trust in being able to find a solution, and that self-trust in being able to navigate the discomfort. right? The living in our choices is coming really strongly into the forefront, and really being accountable to ourselves in the choices that we have made. Are the choices we're making lining up with our vision for ourselves, with our values, with the direction that we see ourselves going? What principles are we going to embody? So in my own situation, am I going to panic and create problems and make snappy decisions, or am I going to be open to receive the help and support that is available to me, which means I have to ask? And as a parentified daughter, man, I hate humbling myself to ask. But this is a time period about community, about finding our collectives, about learning how to navigate this world using the individuation that we have accomplished, but reconnecting with those union energies, with the collective, with our communities. A lot of us over the last cycles have been pulled into more of our hermit energies. We've been pulled back more into ourselves. And there has been a huge amount of realignment that occurred within myself. And I know that there are others out there who are doing the same thing. A lot of that around the accountability, right? Like having the awareness that I made choices that put me in a situation that increased my vulnerability. Even this morning, I chose to go further than I originally planned, not by much, but enough. And because I veered from what I had originally thought in autopilot, because I turned out onto the street in autopilot before I even thought and went, oh, I was just going to do this, right? So really looking at those autopilot areas and where we're ignoring our intuition, our inner guidance, shining our light out into the communities for others to see, because other people are dealing with these same things, right? And we are being called to reconnect with our communities and reconnect with the world at large, because all of us who are facing adversity, who are facing challenge, who have gone through purging in time periods like this where it feels like things are falling apart. And I know that, my world is just a microcosm. I have to focus on my own small community. There are ways that things feel like they are coming undone, just as it feels like the larger scale is. To my video that I talked about yesterday, there was the can technologically advanced societies, can we address the tribalism and the loyalties that we have long held to keep pace with the advancements that we are making? Or are we going to, and this is a lot around the emotional processing, or are we going to develop the tools and the weapons before we have the emotional maturity, the discernment, and the wisdom to know how to use them? What are we still clinging on to as far as our identities, our comforts, our securities that are holding us back? What are we delaying ourselves on when there is a calculated risk, a pro-social choice that needs to be made, right? Like, a lot of people are being called into visibility. So in what ways are you still withholding your truth? What ways are you still repressing your creativity? It is okay for us to make mistakes and to make bad choices. We just can't lie to ourselves about them. We have to be authentic in it and recognize where our strengths and our weaknesses are. And those are the areas we grow, right? We empower and we feed our strengths. We regulate them. We keep them in balance. But we look at the areas where our reported weaknesses are, and we work to build those. We build on them. We build scaffolding around them. I refer to bone a lot because bone to me mirrors our foundation energies. It is our internal structures, our scaffolding, and our foundation. Bone does heal. but only when it is aligned correctly and the stressors around it that it is put upon are reduced until the cast can come off. And then it often overgrows and heals stronger than it did before. It becomes harder to re-break. Does that mean that you won't injure it anymore? No. Does that mean that you don't have to change the way you do things in order to prevent future injury? No, you change the behavior. We change the behavior. We're really being called to look at all of the forms of addiction that we have. And these aren't just to substances. We become addicted to familiar forms of suffering. We become addicted to the identities. The ego does not want to let go of identities. We live in this really interesting polarity in our psyche where we contain both curiosity and expansion at the same time as we carry safety in the familiar and that resistance towards change and growth, even though curiosity and expansion lead us right into growth and uncertainty. So where are we clinging to identities? In another reading, the octopus came out. And the octopus, I think of all the tentacles going out. That can be, are you spreading yourself out in different directions? Are you focusing your energy on one task, making sure that one task is done well? Or are you spreading yourself out so that none of them are getting your full attention, your full awareness, your full gift and measure? What are we still holding on to that we're not scraping off? Because we're really looking at our loyalties, our tribalism, asking ourselves, is it working? Is this going to survive and carry me forward? Where am I holding to a rigid identity when the change in the environment around me is asking me to be more fluid? We can't adapt in fixed states. Our identities, we can learn to have a fluid identity. The ego, when it is healthy, embraces having a fluid identity because it learns to trust itself in the change. And then it is easier for that identity to be fluid. So proceeding always with trust. There was a phrase that I learned really early on in my growth. If it's light, it's right. If it's heavy, it's just not ready yet. Everything is a yet. So where are you pushing? Where are you creating urgency in yourself? Where are you proceeding in autopilot instead of taking conscious choice? Where are you not asking the deeper questions of yourself and of others? Are you testing the leadership for clarity or confusion? Are you testing that within yourself? Are you being a lamp, a ladder, or a lifeboat to those around you? It's no longer about individuation. For many of us, we have done that. It's now about stepping back out into the collective to be that lamp, ladder, and lifeboat. So look around your communities. Where can you offer support? Even a person with little physical material resource has an abundance of internal capital to use as support for others. With your time, your attention, your presence. So how are you carrying yourself forward? Because we're going to see a lot of upheaval. Our loyalties are going to be tested. And if there are areas where you are outsourcing your authorship, your agency, your safety, security, stability, your competency, if you are outsourcing any of those things to others, you're going to run into conflict and challenge. You're going to find contrast. Love is unconditional. Access is earned. Competence is earned. Courage and readiness come from the choice and the action that follows the choice, not from having them before you set out. Many of us are being called into the forest. The forest represents the unknown, the uncertainty, but it also is filled with resource. Yes, there are things that might be lurking in the shadows. We all fear that panther, those things with teeth that have the ability to hide in the shadows. But is the fear earned? Or is it a potential resource that you're not tapping into because fear held you back? The forest that we are being called into, the uncertainty, the not knowing what's around the next corner, it's not a desert. It's not empty, it is full. There is nourishment in the forest. There is shelter in the forest. There is water. There's food. You have the ability to resource yourself in a forest. So are you staring at the trees or are you looking at the forest? Which perspective do you need? Are you allowing the uncertainty of the future and your distrust in yourself to hold you back? For myself, I have chosen to believe in the universe around me. I have chosen to be delusional enough, which means I believe in my own creative spark. I believe in my own imagination and my own intuition enough to know that whatever challenge comes out, I will still land on my feet and my head will still stay on my shoulders. So that's what my life has proved to me so far. And as I watch the larger world seem to come apart, I am grateful today for the ways that this unraveling is actually increasing our safety, our security, and our stability. Where it is calling more of us to step forward in the light that we carry and to be the voice for others that says there is hope. Your faith is warranted and your beliefs can change to fit something greater. I am excited for the adventure of what is coming. I don't know what's going to happen. It looks like a lot of ick. It looks like a lot of ugliness in my own world, and in the larger world, there is definitely a share of uncertainty. You can't find the gem if you're not among the rocks, right? So rock bottom is a really good starting point. I feel like I'm going to cry right now. I'm definitely having some feelings. There's a lot of loss that has occurred for many of us, for myself. There's a lot of us who have spent time in solitude and isolation long enough that being visible after healing is intimidating in itself. There are ways that I forget how to be social. Because I'm not performing anymore and I don't know what to do when I'm not performing. You know, there's the, okay, here's my frequency. I'm going to let my freak out now. And how is that going to be received? And just because I work on it and I can tell myself I choose which thoughts I feed doesn't mean that they don't crop up, but I have to face them. I see them. I know what they are. And I know the truth that I live in my choices. And that is that I choose me. Because at the end of the day, I am all there is to me. I am the one that wakes up in this skin every day and goes to bed in this skin every day. I am the sleeper and the waker. I am the seeker and what was sought. I am the arrow and the bow that loosed it into the world. There's been a lot about stars in my awareness and the when you wish upon a star. So I want you to look at what you're putting out into the world with your voice, with your actions, with your choices. Are you choosing to look at the world and what is happening with despair? And despair isn't always bad. It leads to disgust, and disgust is one of those things that changes identities real fast. When you align that with a greater purpose and you determine to live purposefully, disgust can be a great tool. We're not supposed to tolerate the intolerable. But our communities are out there. We just need to find them, connect with them. Thank the people around you who are supportive, who are encouraging. Thank the givers. Thank the cheerleaders. And find that energy of gratitude within yourself. Because chaos is what creates the ingredients from which creation is born. So when it looks like everything is crumbling, it's just tearing away the scaffolding that cannot support you anymore. Just like the crab outgrows its shell, before that shell cracks open, the crab is incredibly uncomfortable. Incredibly, I'm sure there's a great deal of pain. And as it cracks open, it has to emerge and go out into a world full of predators, things that want to eat it, who are aware of when its seasons and cycles are, so are waiting for it to come out vulnerable, unshielded, unshelled. But to conform to the old container wouldn't work anymore. The growth cannot be stopped, so the container must be shed. And the crab trusts itself, things in nature that go through this, the eagle having to smash off its beak or not be able to eat. Nature teaches us what to do in times like this. So if you feel like you have shed your shell, know that you have everything inside of here that you need to find the solutions. And your community, your people, your support, your encouragement, your empowerment is out there around you. Because what you carry within you is what you project outward. So if you carry the light within, can't help but shine light back at you. So choose love. Choose compassion. Choose bravery and courage and truth. And trust yourself, because you have gotten yourself here, or I wouldn't be talking to you. I am part of your collective. I am part of your community. I send you my love, and the healing energies that are already there, I send to you. If you found value in this video, please like, comment, and share. I would love to have the opportunity to witness and support you as you go through your own growing pains. Look at the world around you and ask yourself who benefits off of you staying stuck. And be the change that must occur in the world. I love you.